Welcome to Anchors Aweigh, the podcast that chronicles a landlocked future sailor's journey to finding freedom and adventure at sea. I'm your host, Todd Middlebrooks, and I welcome you along on my journey. In this Logbook episode, I recount the travel and first sailing day of our July 2019 sailing trip in the BVI. Raising the sails on that first day is one of the things that hooked me, and I can't wait to get underway again soon. Now let's head into today's sailing term. Today we actually have two sailing terms that go hand in hand and confuse a lot of new sailors and non-boaters. I'll admit, it took me a little while to remember them at first, but I do have a trick. The terms are port and starboard. So when you're facing forward, port is anything to the left side of the boat. When you're on board, you can use this term pretty much any time you would normally say the word left. Starboard is when you're facing forward, anything that's on the right-hand side of the boat. Same deal as port, only the opposite. The easiest trick I've heard is that port has 4 letters and the word left also has 4 letters. This is a great little hack to remember which is which until it becomes second nature. All right, let's take a breather. Now let's get into today's episode. As I mentioned before, this is the first logbook entry. Actually, it's the first 2 for our BVI sailing trip last summer. And I'm going to start on Monday, July 15th, which was actually our travel day. I call it day 0 in the journal, but it's our travel day from Atlanta to St. Thomas. So the flight from Atlanta to St. Thomas was a great flight, and then we took a ferry from St. Thomas to Tortola. The flight took about 4 hours, and I realized on the flight that I forgot my Canon battery for my 6D Mark II digital SLR, which I was planning to take photos and some video with. But after a good bit of work, I was able to find one in a shop in St. Thomas before we hopped on the ferry over to the British Virgin Islands. We grabbed a quick bite to eat before hopping on the ferry. And the 1-hour ferry ride to Tortola was pretty rough, but everybody did fine, despite a lot of our crew being down below in the ferry. The boat Judine, now we pronounced it Judine for the week. It's spelled Judine, so take it for what it's worth. Judine was ready when we arrived at the moorings Sunsail base, so we loaded on and began settling in. Once we got provisioning taken care of, we headed to dinner at Charlie's, which was located right there at the base. After a long day of travel, we were ready for bed. Brett, our captain, did a great job of... Brett, my buddy who we were traveling with, and the captain for this trip, did a great job of briefing us on the boat for... My buddy Brett, who was going to captain our trip, to be our captain for this trip, did a great boat briefing for everyone regarding the roles on board, safety, our planned route, etc. On Tuesday morning, the 16th, we had a boat briefing with Morgan from the moorings. I enjoyed the walkthrough of the boat, learning where everything is located and about the systems of the boat. We had an exciting sail as we headed out for Salt Island. Brett let me take the helm and tack a little as we headed for Salt. Such an incredible experience, taking the wheel, turning off autopilot, as Van Halen's Right Now played from Reagan's playlist. We were able to make 6 to 6.5 knots on the short sail. We picked up a mooring ball at Salt Island and prepared to do some snorkeling while the winds dived. TJ got a little seasick as we were preparing to gear up. We had a great time snorkeling over the wreck of the Roan ship. After our snorkel, Murphy and Kieran weren't feeling so well, and the boat was rocking pretty good at our anchorage. So we left out quickly to get everyone to calmer water and to land to feel better. Cooper Island was... We left out from Salt and headed to Cooper Island. Cooper Island was a nice anchorage, despite some more rollers. We were able to fly the drones, We were able to fly the drones, paddleboard, play on the beach, and dinghy over to a small point for some more snorkeling. Then we dinghied to the dock for ice cream and happy hour drinks, my first painkiller in the British Virgin Islands. Dinner was grilled chicken and rice back on the boat, and afterwards we played a hilarious card game. Pause. Once again, all the resources mentioned... No, that's no good. That concludes the first couple of days from the BVI journal, days 0 and days 1. The next episode... Well, no, I'm going to say that. And that concludes the day 0 and day 1 entries from the BVI journal of our trip last year. In the future, we'll have days 2 through 7 for the journal as we continue the Logbook series. Real quickly, I wanted to share a resource that the ASA sent out a social media post about regarding free online sailing content that they're offering right now. They recognize that a lot of sailors or would-be sailors would be... They recognize that a lot of sailors, would-be sailors, or wannabe sailors are currently trapped at home or behind their work desks right now due to the ongoing pandemic. So they've offered a series of free online sailing content that I will link in the show notes, which can be found at anchorsawaypodcast.com/episode 5. Yes, that's right. We do have a website that has been launched now. It's at anchorsawaypodcast.com. All of the show notes and the video versions of this podcast will be hosted there. So I invite you to tune in there. And until the next episode, I want to thank you for tuning in to the Anchors Aweigh podcast. Thanks for tuning into the show. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the boat on future episodes, as they will automatically be docked into your favorite podcast player. Until then, Anchors Aweigh.